All right, here we go. This SicEm365 Radio on this Monday afternoon, 3 o'clock hour. Thanks to Joey McGuire, Baylor football. And now joined in studio by a U.S. Olympic athlete, Will London III from Waco High, Baylor University, and the United States Olympic team. Is that still kind of, when you hear that, I know you expected it and you're part of it, but what does that mean to you?
Oh, man, it's a great feeling. You know, I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I guess today was actually the first day it finally hit me. I guess 1 week out before I head out, so I'm ready to go.
Will, is just looking in the studio, is there anyone in here who could beat you in an athletic event? I just want to know, I mean, just for any of our own self-esteems, if we could beat an Olympian in something.
You probably could, you know. It's been a while since I played any other sports. I'm in fully track, so I think anything else is pretty up in the air.
So, Will, I remember when you made the team, and I remember tweeting out the note that you were the first Waco athlete to make the Olympic team. I mean, has that sunk into you? Because, I mean, I know it's one thing to make the Olympics, but I know that the town of Waco means a lot to you, man. Like, what does that honor just kind of, when you think of that, what does that mean?
I actually didn't know until, like, everybody brought it to my attention. So I guess, like, I've seen a lot of great talent come out of Waco, so I guess just to see, like, that I am, like, that's a big accomplishment. Like, you know, having, like, Derek Johnson, Charles Tillman, we can go down the list. It's a lot of guys, but that's what I know from Waco High. And even LaGerald Betters, you know, so those guys has been on some pretty stacked teams and been on some big stages as well. But I guess the Olympics is just a little different.
Yeah, just a little bit, yep.
So you had practice this morning. You're working out every day. Clyde Hart, the Hall of Fame coach, and you mentioned, and he told me one day when I asked him this question, he goes, well, if you know anything about me, we don't peak to an event. We just work every day. So what are you doing right now?
One thing about Coach Hart is, like, our training is, like, we train to be ready at the big meets, you know, at the end of the year, at the major championships, at the national championships, U.S. trials, and then get ready for, like, the big ones. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters the most. That's what we've been focusing on all year. So now it's like last week we did a lot of reloading, so a little slower but a lot more volume. And then this week before I leave, we took a little bit off the volume, but it's a little faster.
Will London III, U.S. Olympian, former Waco High star, and Baylor All-American with us on SicEm365 Radio in studio on the week before he leaves for the Tokyo Games, of course, in Japan. And we had Will on right after, the day after he qualified for the U.S. Olympic team just a couple of weeks ago.
Will, so what's the schedule like, and are you done with most of the, like, boring paperwork part of it, and is now just get to Japan and go through that, or?
Actually, when we finish, we go to team processing, and team processing takes, like, I think this year it took like 3 hours. It was a lot, you know. You go and try on your uniform, try on everything, all the clothes, and then they book your flights and all those things. And then it's been a little bit more of a process due to, like, the COVID reasons, safety reasons. They even had to send us home with, like, 4 COVID tests that we have to do at home before we leave. And then I know it's gonna be a lot. I don't think it'll be that much more paperwork when we get there, besides just having, like, our COVID information. And I know they told us, like, this year, I think the customs, when we get there this year, might take 5 to 6 hours before we actually leave the airport and go to the hotel, go to the Olympic Village.
Well, make sure you don't have anything like, oh, forgot I put that in my bag, because, you know, obviously that would just be more and more of a delay, and they're going to be super stringent about all of that. So I know that you've been well-traveled as a track athlete, but have you ever been to Japan?
No, this would be my first one. I've been to a lot of different places. Been to Europe a lot, but I think Japan, this is my first time.
Have you ever dreamt of going there? Is that ever been on your list, or is there anything that maybe you think of and you're like, oh, that's going to be interesting?
Yeah, I think everybody that runs professional track have those special places they want to go to just for, like, how big track is there. And I know I'm glad I get to get this one, and my next one will be I want to run in Beijing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
The Darrell Williamson, we've had him on. We've had Jeremy Warner. Those are some of the lineage and greatness of Baylor track and field who have won gold medals in the Olympic Games. We know, obviously, with Michael Johnson, among others. Have you heard from some of them at all? Have you stayed in touch with them? And just what does that mean?
Yeah, after my races and before my races, I talked to Jeremy and I talked to Michael a little bit. I talked to Jeremy pretty much after every race or before every race. We'll message each other and he'll tell me like if I need to critique something or anything. And then Michael had reached out after USA's. I was a little bit upset, but you know he was just like, hey, let's find a way to get it done, fix it, and go on to the next race.
For Michael in particular, I think most people just know the Olympic glory. You know, they remember Atlanta in '96 and how amazing that was and all of that. But he wasn't a guy that just walked right on the track. He had to overcome some things as well. Is that kind of good to hear that from him as well, and not just, you know, the good stuff that you know that he also had to overcome things?
Oh, for sure. You know, I hear the stories from Coach Hart all the time, and a lot of people don't know that Michael didn't run the 400 in college. Like, he was only a 200 runner. He didn't start his 400 season or career until he left Baylor. And, like, he started, and I think his first race he won, and then him and Coach Hart went on from there. So, you know, like, hearing the stories from Coach Hart all the time, it kind of pumps me up, gets me ready. You know, I hear a lot about Jeremy, Sonya, and, you know, it's like I got a lot of work to do to get to where they are. But, you know, one thing about Coach Hart is he doesn't try to get me to be them. You know, he wants me to make my own story, make my own mark, and he just throws in them just to give me like a little motivation every now and then.
So when we talked to you on the phone the last time, I remember asking you about, you know, when you and Coach Hart first crossed paths, but what's it been like to be on this journey with him and to now be at this point where you're talking about, hey, we're not trying to get to the Olympics, like you've gotten to the Olympics and you're working on that now. I mean, just what has that years-long path with him been like?
It's been great. One thing about, like, me and Coach Hart relationship, we're always looking for, like, the next thing we can do to get to the next, like, the higher part of the season or the higher part of my career. Like, we've already been, like, discussing next season already. Like, we've already been trying to figure out what it is that we can do to make sure I'm on that podium for next year. What can we change? Like, that's one thing I like about Coach Hart. Like, we're in the season now, but we're also trying to see what we can do also to fix the situation or the things that we kind of messed up on this year that we could have did better.
You went to Atlanta, what was it, maybe a week or two ago, and won.
Yeah.
Do you run again? Was that just one more little primer, one more little, hey, by the way, U.S. Olympic Team Committee, whatever, I'm rolling here, I'm ready?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to get, like, because I went to Stockholm, and then I came back for like a couple of days, and I flew out to Atlanta. So, you know, just wanted to make a little money while I'm here. You know, I don't got nothing else to do. So, you know, and plus it, like, keeps me ready instead of just training, because sometimes just training just, you know, you don't get that same feeling as getting a race in. And Coach Hart thought it was good for me to go and get some races in. And even when I come back, I still have, like, maybe 3 or 4 meets and I'm going to run in after Tokyo. I mean, the season's going to continue. So, you know, if I'm feeling great, why not?
Is the 400 the most exciting event?
Oof. I mean, if we're going to be biased, for me, but I don't know. I think some of the field events have been kind of crazy this year.
Will London III in studio with us, SicEm365 Radio, and he's on his way to Tokyo. He'll be leaving here within the week and head on with the U.S. Olympic team to compete for the United States. And what does that mean to you?
Oh, man, competing in the Olympics is going to be crazy. You know, it's going to be one of those where I still haven't put it into perspective how great it is. I feel like I'll really understand when I get up there. I mean, I think the only thing, like, besides not having fans, is not being able to attend the opening ceremonies.
Yeah.
But, you know, I still get, like, the gear from the polo and stuff like that. So when I get home, I'll just wear it around the house.
What is it? Does no fans, does that make a difference? No adrenaline rush? Is it still there? What's that going to be like?
I feel like, you know, when you're on this level, on how high this level is, you kind of seem to be able to compete in whatever it is, you know. And I feel like it shouldn't really matter because, you know, the college athletes have to deal with it. A few of the meets that I ran at was like that at the beginning of the season. So, you know, I feel like I'll still be ready regardless of if it's fans or not. Like, you know, it's still the Olympics at the end of the day. It's still a giant stadium. It's still that same rush. I mean, it's just not as loud. I feel like that's all it is.
So we know a lot of Baylor-related folks have helped you along the way with advice, Clyde Hart and Jeremy Warner, Michael Johnson. Who are some other USA track and field guys who have been instrumental in either helping you learn some things along the way, mentoring, who have been some of those people for you?
When Trayvon was here, me and him was really close before he moved and trained in Florida. But we keep in touch all the time. We talk every other day, if not every day. And, he kind of was that guy that got me to where I was as far as mentally to learn the game as far as in the professional world, just teaching me the ropes. Everybody pretty much see me, Michael Cherry, and Vernon Norwood. We talk all the time. Those guys, they helped me along the way, especially Cherry. Me and him was on the same team in 17 and then on the same team in Doha along with Vernon Norwood. So when you're on the team with those guys, you kind of learn the ropes because they've been there before. So whatever I need or ask them for, they kind of give me the notions that I need to, not have cold feet or whatever. So, it's been great. Like, I've been enjoying the process. I've learned a lot. This year was my first year because COVID knocked out the entire season last year. So, it was tough this year. I ain't going to say it was easy. It's like learning how to be a freshman in college all over again. So I'm glad about it, and I'm ready to go to Tokyo. And then I'm also ready for next year. It's going to be exciting.
What's it like as a friend to see Trayvon's journey back to now being probably the odds-on favorite to win the 100?
One thing, I talk to Trayvon all the time, and he knows it, and I say it to him all the time, that I always knew he was going to get back and be where he was. One thing about Trey is I watched him run 10-2 at trials in 17 when he was just coming off his injury and was actually still hurt from it. So I knew when I seen him running injured and still running fast that when he got healthy, he was going to be fine. So, me and Trayvon talk all the time, and I always tell him, he knows that if anybody knows he was going to be there, it was me. Like, he just had to believe it. And, once he realized that he was ready, that he was going to run fast. And I'm happy to see him back. I seen him at his worst, and I'm glad to see him back to see that, he still hasn't able to show the younger and the older that, whatever you've been through, you can get from it and be great.
He seems locked in, too, man. When we talked to him, he seems locked in right now.
Yeah, that's why I told you I didn't think he was going to do it. And I talked to him. He was like, I don't know. But, that's just like him right now. He just has that main goal at hand, and he just wants to stay focused and stay ready. Everybody's not willing to, step out of that box sometimes. And it's okay, And I just know Trayvon. And he knows me. And, I'm all for it because, I like to have fun. I like to do these because, it takes me out of that zone. And sometimes you need to get out of that zone. But I know for Trayvon, that's him. And I'm glad he's able to, still have that notion to talk to people, but also, turn it back on.
Well, and the backstory is you and I were talking, tweeting, or texting back and forth, and we had you on after the Olympic trials, and he was just so locked in. And so Michael Ford is named the new track and field coach, and I get a direct message from him. It's 11:20 p.m. in England.
Yeah, he's in
and
England,
he jumps on with us. He bumped you out of the way, by the way. But he does, and he was fantastic. He was Michael Ford. I've seen some things you've said. I used a couple of quotes from you as well. Mm-hmm. What did that mean, do you think, Baylor track in the history?
Oh, man, that's great. Coach Ford, me and him go way back to when I was like 5 years old. He actually was he sponsored my youth basketball teams for years and years. He bought us uniforms and would give us money in order to pay for travel and stuff like that. So I know Coach Ford. He's always giving into the community of Waco outside of Baylor. So just from that point on, I knew Coach Ford was going to be the man for the job once Coach Harbor was ready to retire. And Coach Ford is, he's devoted his entire life to Baylor, ran at Baylor. So he has it instilled into him. He's a great coach, great man. And I'm excited to see where the track team goes. I think I was too excited because I was actually asleep when I got the news. And I woke up and I seen it and I called him and I was yelling on the phone. And he was just laughing. And I was just excited because, it was just anticipating that moment to see who the coach is going to be. And you really wanted to be somebody that who cares about the school and cares about the student athletes. And once I seen it was him, man, I knew it's going to be some great things that come for the years to come.
He's got a big vision for the program. He told us, he said, Coach Hart was there to kind of get the Olympians there and like make it, find the event that helps grow the program.
Yeah.
He did that, and then Coach Harbor grew it out to, winning more and more events. And then what he wants to do is like a private school. He wants to win the whole shooting match.
Yeah, I mean, because it's really hard to recruit when you're a private school because you don't get that many scholarships in Baylor. It costs a lot to go. So the people that you recruit and give a full scholarship to, you got to make sure they're like really sharp and pretty much the fastest in the world that you can find. And when you kind of don't find that, it kind of, you got to wait another 4 years until that scholarship is gone. So, Coach Ford and Coach Ben and the rest of the staff, Coach Stacy, they always do a great job of finding great recruits. So it's just now just to get the student athletes on board and win some championships.
So since you turned pro, you got to start making a little bit of money, which is got to be nice, I would imagine. Yeah. And I know maybe track athletes in college might not be, like a football player with this name, image, likeness stuff, but there are opportunities now. Yeah, how much would that have meant for you and fellow track athletes back when you were in school, and what do you make of that moving forward?
I mean, I feel like it's great. I think it's one of those things where you don't really see too much of those things outside when you become a professional athlete. So when you do get to it, you kind of like, I'm getting this money, I'm getting this, and you don't realize what comes with it. Like it comes with a lot. If this company's gonna offer you some money, you got to be willing to post. They want you to post this many times on Instagram or Twitter, or want you to show up to this many events. Some people don't want to do it, but they gave you the money to do so. So I feel like if learning it at this age and being able to maybe learn it as a freshman in college, especially if that's what you want to do when you leave, I think it'll be great. But also it has to come with, I just hope they're able to learn the tools of like taxes and what's going on with those things, because everything come with a price. And I know when I first, signed and I was getting all the gear and not having to pay taxes on the Nike stuff, and then when I got my taxes form at the end of the year, I was like, oh, this is crazy. I was like, oh, man. But then I had to learn that, tax write-offs and everything and stuff like that. So I feel like if they can learn that at an early age, and right now when they become a professional athlete, it's all said and done. It's not that hard to concept and grasp.
Will, so you are a part of the team, and you are expecting to run, and you are a part of the relay team and all of that. So what do you know? Tell us the process. Darrell Williamson told the story about how they kept 3 and 4 with Jeremy and Darrell the year that they won it in 04, I think, in Athens. And it was, so give us an idea of what you know.
Honestly, I don't have no idea. I know in 17 I ran the 400 in London at Worlds, and then I ran both rounds of the 4x4, and I was actually supposed to just run the first round, and then I ended up running fast enough to make it to the final, and they put me first leg. And then 2019 in Doha before COVID, I wasn't supposed to run at all. Like I got a call last minute that we're gonna take you. You're just gonna be the alternate. You probably won't run, but you'll be on the team. So I was just like, I'll stay ready. So me and Coach Hart was still training. We got down there. The next thing you know, I ran the final on the mixed relay, and then I ran both rounds on the 4x4. I was just supposed to run the prelim on the 4x4, and then I ran fast enough, and they voted, and they said, we want Will to run the final. So I'm going in the same way with this one. I don't know what's going on, but, it's happened before, so I'm just going to stay ready.
Sounds like it's worked for you, too, when you've gone in that way.
Yeah, but I told Coach I don't want that job no more. I want to go where I can get a solidified spot and run on the 400.
Let's, without getting too far ahead of ourselves, but let's say there's an opportunity that you will be on a podium and you've won the gold medal. I don't know what they're doing anymore now when they come with the country anthem and all that, but if you hear the national anthem and you're on the podium, do you have any idea what that'll be like?
I'm going to be scared. And, I mean, like I said, I'm going to just, I've been on the podium before, but I think because it's the Olympics, it'll be different. But I think, with no fans, it'll make it a little easier. It's nobody going to be in the stands, so I think it'll be a little weird just standing there, just cameras just staring at you. But, I mean, I'm just ready to go down there. Like I told Coach, I'm ready. I told the coaches, the USA coaches, I'm ready. They know I'm ready. So regardless of what happened, I'm going to soak it all in and enjoy myself.
Well, do it every day. Relax and enjoy the journey, enjoy the moment, and be careful. And we wish you we appreciate you coming in the studio. What do you think about our
Absolutely,
place,
It's
man?
really nice. You know, it's nice how y'all turn this into something, because I remember passing it. And I think one day I actually seen the curtains was open. And
Yeah.
I seen the backdrop. And I was like, oh, this is the little studio. So it's nice.
And we're glad you're here. We appreciate it. You're a part of a select committee, a group of athletes and others and personalities we brought in here. We hope to have more, but we're glad you're one of them. Thank you.
Y'all for having me. I really
Good luck.
appreciate
From
it.
the day he committed to Baylor, and even before that, when Will was running, when he was just an ankle biter. Right? We just didn't have you on the show. And good luck to you and the family, and representing the United States and Baylor. Thanks,
Yes,
and
sir.
Waco High as well. That's Will London III, U.S. Olympian. Will London III on SicEm365 Radio.